Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my top 5 drugstore foundations. Now these foundations are the ones that I can get here in the UK, but there may be some similar where you live. For my drugstore foundations, I'm just going to be telling you some things about them. So the coverage, shades, price range, the finish and the size of the bottle. This is just so you get a little bit of an overview of the foundation if you do decide you want it. So, hope you enjoy. So, first of all, I'm going to be starting off with the Loreal Infallible 24-hour matte. Now, at the moment, this is $8.99 on boots.com. You can get 6 shades, which isn't that good. There's not many shades for deeper skin tones. However, if you are a lighter skin tone, this is the shade 10 Porcelain, and it's what I'm wearing today, mixed with something else, and it matches me quite well, and I'm really fair, so bear that in mind. Coverage is medium to full. It can be quite full coverage if you build it up, but if you really want to build it up, I'd recommend using quite a thick, dense brush, because if you do it with a sponge, that's when you're going to get quite a low coverage. This one is also a very matte finish, as the name would suggest, and you get 35 mils in here, which is a little bit more than a normal foundation, but however, it is in a squeeze tube, so maybe they put it like that because you might squeeze more out instead of a pump. Some pros on it: I like the finish, I like the coverage, but this can be quite cakey looking if you put too much on. And also, if you've got like a dry skin, I wouldn't recommend it at all because it might cling. So just make sure that even if you are oily, you're moisturising well before you use this one. So once again, that's the Loreal 24-hour matte. I've also got the Loreal Infallible 24-hour. This is the Stay Fresh version. So this one, it says it's got no transfer, no visible infections, no visible shine, no drying out, and no mask effect. I would say that it's once again a medium to full coverage. Current price at the moment is $10.99. It's more of a satin finish than the first Loreal Infallible, and 8 shades, which isn't the best once again. But if you are pale, this is the shade Porcelain 015, and this matches me really well. So if you are quite fair, maybe have a little look at this one as well if you're on the oilier side. You get 30 mils in this one, standard. It's got a pump, so quite a good foundation, and it does last a really long time. This is the Revlon Colorstay foundation. This is the combination to oily skin version. They do have a normal to dry. This one is in the shade 1110 Ivory. This is the lightest shade they do. As you can see, it's tiny little bit dark for me, but once you blend it out, you don't really notice it as long as you take it down the neck. So this one is a full coverage with a tiny bit of building, so you can get a full coverage out of it pretty much straight away, but if you like the really full coverage, you might want to put a little bit extra wherever you need it. This one, depending on where you look, it's got 13 to 18 shades. Now the shade range is a bit better than the other L'Oreal ones, but it's not the best. I have a better shade match one coming up soon. So this one currently is $12.99. It's a velvet matte finish. It's not full on cakey matte, but it has a nice velvety finish, and once again size 30 mil. I would recommend this for people who either have dry skin as well, because they do have the dry option, so that is quite a good pro of this foundation, and it's not just made for one skin type. Now they have a pump, which is much better than this, so if you see this and you think, oh, it's got a like twist top, it doesn't have a twist top anymore. It actually has a pump, so bear that in mind. Now this is the L'Oreal True Match foundation. Now L'Oreal True Match is probably quite a classic foundation from the drugstore, to be honest. Coverage, I'd say it's a medium. Definitely not full coverage, but with a little bit of building you can probably get medium to full. I wouldn't say full on full. This one, it has 23 shades, which is pretty good for a drugstore foundation. They recently revamped the whole line, so that's probably why they've got a lot more shades. Current price is $9.99. This may change depending on where you go. Finish is a velvety matte finish. It's not full on matte, but depending on how you put it on, for example, if you use a sponge, it's going to be more luminous looking. And the size is 30 mil. pro, it's got a nice pump. Another pro is there's like so many shades in this foundation, you're probably going to find one. And also they've separated it into cool, warm and neutral, which I think is really good, because otherwise someone like me, I'm using Ivory Rose, which is a cool shade, and the next one up is way too warm for me, and most people don't cater for that, so I think that's really good. My last foundation is the Maxfactor Skin Luminizer. As you can see, it's got like a swirled pattern in the bottle. This foundation is a really nice one if you just want very light coverage. Now, I'd say this is a sheer to medium coverage. It has light perfecting filters in it apparently, which means that you get a more subtle glow on your face. It's quite light reflecting, quite luminous finish. In terms of finish, I'd probably say a dewy to satin finish. There's only 6 shades that I could find on Boots and Superdrug, which I thought was quite poor really, but this is the shade Light Ivory and it works pretty well. I don't have to mix it with anything. It's not the best shade range, but if you can find your shade in this foundation, then I think it's worth having a look. If you've got oily skin, probably wouldn't recommend it. I can get away with it because I've got combination skin, but just bear that in mind as well. Size 30ml. So bog standard foundation sizing there. Nice pump, nice foundation. Now, if I had to pick my favourite one out of the selection I have picked, I would probably say L'Oreal True Match. Reason why is because it has the most shade range, it has the most versatile coverage. If I want a full, I can get it, and if I want medium, I can just leave it. Very blendable as well, so even if it is a little tiny bit off, you will get away with it because it does blend really nice. It has the most natural coverage, I think, out of these foundations, even though it is a medium coverage. And I think that because of the amount of shade ranges, that it's going to be something that everybody can find their shade in, which I think is the best. And it's $9.99, and most of the time L'Oreal's on 3 for 2, so you're going to find it at a reasonable price. So they were my top 5 foundations from the drugstore here in the UK. I'm going to be doing my top 5 high-end foundations next, so please stay tuned. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye! Okay, so that were...